new restrictions. Okay, so the last thing we can do from this is, what if I give you the final composition? Can you deconstruct that and tell me what two functions would have made that composition? Okay, so if you take a look at number one, I'm telling you that h of x is the square root of x minus 3. So that was the final composition. When we work everything out, that's what we get. Can you tell me what two functions f and g would have been composed to make that? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, now it is key that you look at how this is written, because f is the small function right here. That's the one that gets inserted into g, which would then be my large function. So does anybody want to take a shot at this? How would you decompose that? Split it into two pieces so that when I compose it back together, I get this square root of x minus 3. What? Go ahead. Would be what? The big piece or the little piece? Correct. So you're saying g of x would be radical x, and then what would the small piece be? Correct. So if we take f and insert it into g, we should get my original problem, which we would, right? Does everybody see how that works? You're basically just separating it apart into the two pieces. So take a look at number 2. Now, I should go back and rephrase this. This is not the only possible answer. There's many other possible answers. It just depends on how creative you want to get. Okay. I will tell you, though, that you can't tell me this. And this is cheating, and I'll show you just so I don't get anybody that tries to do this on a quiz. You can't say that f of x is x and that g of x is a square root of x minus 3. Does that make sense? I mean, you really didn't do anything there, right? Were you thinking about saying that? Yeah. Nope. I won't take that. You got to do a little bit more than that for me. All right. So what do you think about this one? Can you give me a large function? Can you give me a small function so that when I compose them, I get h? What looks like the overarching function of the whole thing? Correct. X to the 1/3 power would be your overarching function, the big function. Then what would you have to plug into that, Dylan? Yep. Does that make sense, everybody? Doing all right? Okay. Again, some years I just have kids that separate these apart. They're super easy. And then every once in a while I get a kid that wants to be super creative and do something crazy. And it works. As long as it works out, I'm good. It just depends on how frisky you're feeling, I guess, at that point in time. Take a look here. So, how do you want to pull this one apart? What do you want to use for your small function? What do you want to use for your big function? I can see two very clear possibilities, two different answers. Go ahead, Amanda. For the big function? And then what would your little function be? Wonderful. I see another pretty clear answer that you could do as well. Anybody? Switch where the radical is. I could make this just 1 over x, and then the little function would be radical x plus 2. Is that all right for everybody? Okay. Questions for me? So that's your homework, and you'll have the rest of the period to do it. Now, I believe I showed you when your quiz was, right? Tuesday of next week. Okay, so on Monday, I think I'll have a worksheet for you to do, and then, no, it's a different worksheet, yep.